In a world where even death could be rehearsed and destiny concealed behind centuries of silence, the return of a single figure was enough to unsettle the balance of empires. Beneath the veiled schemes of ancient clans and within lands whispered to devour nascent souls, forces long buried were stirring once more, and none present yet realized that this gathering bound by blood greed and peril would mark the beginning of a storm capable of reshaping the fate of the great Jin itself. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Following the arrival of the newcomer, the three cultivators returned to their own affairs, each withdrawing into silence as if separated by invisible walls. No one showed the slightest inclination to converse. Beneath the drifting miasma, they stood like three solitary peaks rising from a poisoned sea. Half a month passed in this uneasy stillness. Only when the noxious mists had thinned and begun to recede did two brilliant streaks of light cut across the heavens, flying toward the mountain in perfect harmony. The twin radiances circled once overhead before descending between the three figures. As the light dispersed, it revealed Elder Wei of the Nine Serenities sect and a beautiful woman clad in black. Her brows were thick and straight as drawn blades, her expression solemn and austere. She stood in silence, her face devoid of emotion, like a statue carved from dark jade. Elder Wei, by contrast, wore a genial smile. His eyes swept over the three as he said warmly, "You honor me with your punctual arrival. I had been making preparations in case one of you failed to appear, yet it seems my concerns were unnecessary." The large man gave a cold smile, his voice blunt and unadorned. "Though I have come, I am at a critical juncture in overcoming my bottleneck. If Brother Fu's matter does not interest me, I will depart at once." "Rest assured, Brother Yuan," Elder Wei replied with a chuckle. "You know I do not speak idly else. Why would I have invited fellow Taoists Han and Bai as well? But before we proceed, allow me to make introductions. This is my junior martial sister, Chang Jifang, Internal Affairs, Elder of the Nine Serenities sect. Since you hail from the sacred poison sect of Nanjiang, we will particularly require the assistance of a native such as yourself, Brother Yuan. As for fellow Taoist Han, he is a vagrant cultivator from overseas, possessed of astonishing abilities. Fellow Taoist Bai is..." Old Man Fu continued with a brief introduction of each. At the mention of Han Li's astonishing abilities, cultivator Yuan and Bai Yaoyi both turned their gazes toward him, surprise flickering in their eyes. Han Li frowned slightly. "Fellow Taoist Fu flatters me. My cultivation is ordinary at best. From where did you hear of these so-called astonishing abilities?" Old Man Fu's tone deepened. "There is no need for concealment. Not only did you slay Old Man Xiao in the Jin capital, but after the trade meet, did you not also kill the illustrious monk Wickedfire? With cultivation as vast as yours, what modesty is there to maintain? Monk Wickedfire was killed by fellow Taoist Han." Cultivator Yuan's expression shifted dramatically, astonishment overtaking his features. Bai Yaoyi likewise revealed shock. Only the woman in black remained unmoved, as though she had long known. Han Li let out a bitter chuckle. "Brother Fu must be mistaken. While it is true that I killed an unknown early nascent soul cultivator in the Jin capital, the one who slew Monk Wickedfire was another. Do you truly believe that a wandering cultivator such as myself possesses heaven-defying power of that magnitude?" Another cultivator. Old Man Fu's expression eased, though doubt lingered in his voice. "I heard that two cultivators with identical faces joined forces against Monk Wickedfire. Could it truly not have been you?" Han Li stroked his chin and replied evenly, "Brother Fu overestimates me. If I possessed the strength to instantly kill a mid-nascent soul cultivator, why would I trouble myself to evade the yin-sifting sect? I could depart openly, and none would dare obstruct my path." Regardless, Old Man Fu said Old Man Xiao was exceptionally cunning and adept in evasion techniques. "To have slain him already proves your extraordinary skill. Still, do you recognize the cultivator who killed Monk Wickedfire?" Tsk, tsk. The sudden emergence of a late nascent soul cultivator can only suggest origins from overseas. Hanley shook his head calmly. The one who killed Monk Wickedfire merely bore the same face as I. We have no connection whatsoever. What a pity, old man Fu sighed with a dry laugh. Had we found him, our chances of success would be even greater. With that, he allowed the matter to drop. Cultivator Yuan spoke again. I also heard that on the final day of the underground trade meet, a two-headed, four-armed devil appeared. It devoured several early nascent soul cultivators. Had the great cultivator overseeing the event not intervened, the entire gathering might have perished. Does Brother Han know anything of this? I do not, Hanli answered evenly. I was already far away when it occurred. Cultivator Yuan's brows knit in faint suspicion. At that moment, Bai Yaoyi interjected, her voice cool as mountain spring water. Fellow Taoist Fu, perhaps you should explain the purpose of this summons. I would not have journeyed to such a remote place were it not to repay a small favor owed. Of course, old man Fu replied, but this matter is of utmost importance. It would be prudent to take certain precautions. He flicked his fingers in rapid succession, releasing over a dozen streaks of green fire into the air. The flames burst apart soundlessly, dissolving into drifting wisps of emerald mist that faded into the surroundings. Han Li's spiritual sense swept outward. He detected faint ripples, evidence of a restriction quietly taking form, though he could not discern its exact nature. The effortless manner in which old man Fu established it caused his heart to tremble slightly. His estimation of the old man rose another measure. Bai Yaoyi and cultivator Yuan likewise probed the restriction with their spiritual senses. Feeling the tightness and subtle profundity of its aura, they grew faintly excited at the seriousness of old man Fu's demeanor. Only after a deep breath did old man Fu speak, his voice solemn. In truth, I have prepared for this moment for over 30 years. And now at last a genuine opportunity has emerged. Have any of you heard of an ancient spiritual medicine known as the nascent cultivating pill? The nascent cultivating pill. Bai Yaoyi and cultivator Yuan looked blank, but Han Li's expression shifted subtly at the name. Noticing this, cultivator Yuan asked, "Does fellow Taoist Han know of it?" After a brief pause, Han Li replied a little, "The nascent cultivating pill was once the signature medicine of an ancient sect divine in quality. It is said that upon ingestion, it nourishes the nascent soul and greatly increases the likelihood of breaking through bottlenecks. Unfortunately, that sect could not withstand the erosion of time, and the pill's formula was lost to the ages. Few today even know of its existence. Were it not for his extensive study of pill refinement and countless ancient records, Han Li would have remained ignorant of it as well." At these words, delight flickered across cultivator Yuan and Bai Yaoyi's faces. Unable to contain himself, cultivator Yuan asked eagerly, "Brother Wei, are you saying you know the whereabouts of this pill?" After reaching the nascent soul stage, the means to advance further dwindled to near nothing, even among the treasures of antiquity. Should one obtain such a method, they would guard it more jealously than their own blood. Over the centuries, most ancient breakthroughs had vanished like smoke in the wind. Aside from a handful of heaven-defying legends, nascent soul cultivators could only rely upon arduous cultivation and scarce advancement medicines. Thus, upon hearing of the pill's miraculous effects, excitement stirred uncontrollably within them. Old man Fu chuckled, pride glinting in his eyes. I did not expect Han Li to be so knowledgeable. Indeed, over a century ago, I obtained the complete refinement formula for this pill. You possess such a treasure. Cultivator Yuan clasped his hands tightly. A faint crimson glow bloomed across his dark face, betraying his agitation. Han Li and Bai Yaoyi exchanged a brief glance, both unable to conceal their own flicker of anticipation. I am also proficient in the art of pill refinement. Old man Fu continued. So long as I gather all the necessary materials, the refinement itself poses no great difficulty. Han Li's brows drew together. From your tone, it seems one of those materials eludes you. Brother Han is perceptive, old man Fu replied. Were I not missing a crucial ingredient, I would have refined it long ago. It is precisely for this reason that I require your assistance. Bai Yaoyi frowned slightly. If even you, an elder of the Nine Serenities sect, could not acquire it after so many years, then this material must be exceedingly rare. Rare. Old Man Fu gave a bitter laugh. It should by all accounts be extinct in this world. At first I believed the formula worthless. Yet by chance I discovered traces of the material's existence. From that moment I began laying my plans. Cultivator Yuan waved impatiently. Enough riddles, Brother Fu. Speak plainly, what do you need? Old Man Fu's gaze darkened as he spoke each word with measured weight. The flesh of an Umbra Yin horse. Han Li's eyes narrowed sharply. An Umbra Yin horse. Where did you find such a thing? Bai Yaoyi and Cultivator Yuan exchanged uneasy glances, the name alone sending a chill through their hearts. Old Man Fu chuckled softly, his voice low and heavy as nightfall. 30 years ago, I discovered traces of it here in Nanjiang. After Old Man Fu declared that he had located the Umbra Yin horse, silence descended upon the group like a heavy shroud. The air itself seemed to congeal. At length Cultivator Yuan broke the stillness. Since fellow Taoist has already discovered the nest of the Umbra Yin horse, and yet still requires our assistance. Could it be you've encountered some difficulty? Old Man Fu nodded faintly. Though the horse is exceedingly adept at concealment and leaves no trace as it roams given sufficient time, capturing it would not be beyond my means. The trouble lies elsewhere. Its nest is within the yin-yang cave of Myriad Poisons Valley. I dare not pursue it inside. With its keen intelligence, the creature ventures no farther than the cave's entrance and will not take even a single step beyond. The yin-yang cave. Bai Yaoyi's complexion drained of color, and even Cultivator Yuan inhaled sharply. Han Li, unfamiliar with the name, asked in puzzlement, "What sort of place is this yin-yang cave? Is it truly so fearsome?" Fellow Taoist Han has not heard of it. Bai Yaoyi exclaimed before steadying herself. "Ah, I nearly forgot you are from overseas. The yin-yang cave is counted among the 7 great perilous lands of the Great Jin. Ordinary cultivators who enter rarely return. What makes it so dangerous?" Han Li asked, curiosity flickering in his eyes. Old Man Fu answered gravely, as its name suggests. It is a place where yin and yang energies collide in ceaseless strife. Even setting aside the rest, the soul-chilling yin winds that howl within year-round are enough to scatter a nascent soul. The cave is also infested with numerous vicious ghosts. Should a living cultivator somehow withstand the yin winds, those spirits will devour them whole. Cultivator Yuan gave a cold snort. And that is only the beginning. Several kilometers below the entrance lies a labyrinth of intertwined tunnels and caverns. There have been cultivators who managed to reach the deeper regions, yet none could fully explore them. The yin winds there suppress spiritual sense entirely. One's vision is reduced to that of a mortal. Some even claim a fearsome ghost monarch slumbers in the depths. But such rumors remain unverified. Few are willing to risk their lives to confirm them. Bai Yaoyi smoothed her brow and added softly, "There is little of value to be found within. In ancient times, rare ores were mined there, but only depleted veins remain. Now that Brother Fu has discovered an Umbra Yin horse within it, seems the yin-yang cave conceals more than we imagined." Having survived the perils of Heaven Void Hall and Devilfall Valley, Han Li was no stranger to mortal danger. His voice turned faintly cold. Since Brother Fu has failed to capture it over so many years, there must be further complications. Old Man Fu smiled confidently. "Naturally. That is why I have prepared for decades. I have refined several treasures specifically to ward off malicious ghosts. And to counter the soul-scouring yin winds, I have brought the dark violet pearls of my sect. With them, the wind's power can be suppressed by half." At the mention of the dark violet pearls, both Cultivator Yuan and Bai Yaoyi felt their hearts stir. These pearls were one of the 3 great signature treasures of the Nine Serenities sect objects, not easily revealed. Old Man Fu surveyed them slowly. "What say you? If you assist me wholeheartedly, and we succeed in capturing the Umbra Yin horse, I will immediately refine the nascent cultivating pill and guarantee each of you one. The pill's effect manifests only once per body. Whether you take one or many makes no difference. As for any other gains within the cave, they will depend upon fortune. Even should we encounter a ghost monarch with our combined strength, we need not fear. The three fell silent. Even cultivator Yuan, who had shown the most eagerness moments before, now wore a contemplative expression. Bai Yaoyi brushed a stray lock of hair from her cheek and asked calmly, "Since Brother Fu has already made such thorough preparations, why seek us out? If you required mid-nascent soul cultivators, your Nine Serenities sect surely has no shortage." At her words, both Han Li and cultivator Yuan's expressions shifted subtly. Yen in particular fixed a penetrating gaze upon Old Man Fu. A fierce shadow flashed across the old man's face. His voice turned sharp. "That may hold true for others, but not for me. Owing to old grievances, I stand at odds with most cultivators of my rank within the sect. Aside from my junior martial sister Chang, the rest likely await news of my death. Even if they agreed to aid me, I would sooner expect betrayal than loyalty." Han Lai remained silent, though inwardly skeptical. Whether the words were truth or fabrication, there was little room to press further. Bai Yaoyi lowered her gaze in thought before lifting it again. "The Yin-Yang cave is no trivial place. I must consider carefully. Grant me 3 days to decide." Of course, Old Man Fu agreed readily. "In any case, we cannot act until half a year from now. We must wait for the 20-year cycle when the yin winds weaken to their lowest ebb. You should also prepare suitable treasures to counter the ghosts. However, before we part today, I require that each of you sign this Underworld river page with your blood essence and swear a venomous oath of secrecy. I prefer to be cautious first and honorable second. I will not allow this matter to attract unwanted attention." With a sweep of his sleeve, black flames flared into being, coalescing into a sheet of yellowed paper. "An Underworld river page," cultivator Yuan exclaimed in alarm. "The baleful artifact that brings calamity upon oathbreakers. I thought it vanished centuries ago." Han Li's heart skipped at the name. Old Man Fu replied indifferently, "It cost me dearly in the underground market. Though it is not as dreadful as legend claims, it suffices to bind silence for a time. Fellow Taoist Han may not know of Feng Tianxing of the Heavenly Devil sect, but fellow Taoists Bai and Yuan surely do. Feng Tianxing was a mid-nascent soul cultivator, no weaker than ourselves. I trust none of you wish to test this page's efficacy." Cultivator Yuan hesitated for a long while. At last resolve hardened in his eyes. "Very well. I will not forfeit an opportunity at the nascent cultivating pill. In half a year I shall arrive on schedule." With a wave of his hand, the flaming black page floated before him. He bit his tongue and spat out a cloud of blood essence. Dipping a finger into the crimson mist, he swiftly inscribed several archaic characters. Moments later, a malevolent ghostly face emerged from the writhing black flames. It grinned wickedly at the large man before swallowing the blood-written oath whole. Then it dissolved into smoke. The sinister spectacle made Han Li's heart thump. Old Man Fu retrieved the page and examined it with satisfaction before turning toward Bai Yaoyi. She hesitated only briefly before resigning herself. The page drifted before her and the same ritual unfolded. Once more the ghostly visage surfaced from the flames, devoured her oath, and vanished. At last, Old Man Fu's gaze settled on Han Li. Inwardly, Han Li sighed. Though a trace of unease stirred within him, refusal seemed difficult. Expressionless, he beckoned the page over. After a moment's scrutiny, he bit the tip of his tongue and expelled a cloud of blood essence. Swiftly, he inscribed his vow of secrecy. Crimson light flickered. The ghost face emerged once more from the black flames, its grin twisted and sinister. Yet just as it opened its mouth, something within Han Li stirred. A strange cry echoed faintly through the air, soft yet piercingly clear to every cultivator present. The others showed no reaction, but the ghost face abruptly distorted. Its features warped in terror. With a sharp, panicked howl, it dissipated into smoke, as though fleeing an unseen horror. Stunned silence fell. Old Man Fu and the others stared in disbelief. Han Li wore a peculiar expression and let out a soft sigh. He swept the page aside and said calmly, "There is no need for further consideration. I will arrive as agreed. However, it seems something about me restrains this page. I am unable to inscribe the oath." He paused before adding evenly, "I am but a wandering cultivator. I will not leave Nanjiang within these 6 months, nor will I divulge this matter." With a flick of azure light, the page returned to Old Man Fu's grasp. The old man caught it, astonishment plain upon his face. Bereft of the Underworld River, Page's binding power, he had no certain means to restrain Han Li's tongue. At that moment the woman in black finally spoke. "Senior Marshal Brother Fu," she said slowly, her voice low and slightly hoarse, yet carrying an inexplicable allure. "I believe fellow Taoist Han speaks reasonably. I am willing to trust him." Her bright eyes flickered once, and in that fleeting motion, there was a charm so subtle it seemed capable of ensnaring the soul itself. When Old Man Fu heard his junior martial sister's words, he hesitated. A flicker of uncertainty crossed his eyes, but after a brief silence, he finally nodded. "Since the Underworld River page holds no sway over fellow Taoist Han, I will not press the matter. However, I must leave a marker upon you. So long as you remain within Nanjiang, it will fade of its own accord in half a year. I trust fellow Taoist Han will not compel me to take further measures." Han Li smiled faintly. "Please proceed, fellow Taoist Fu. I have no intention of concealing my whereabouts." Old Man Fu formed a hand seal and murmured a short incantation. A strand of azure light flickered between his fingers before shooting forth. Han Li watched attentively. Recognizing it as nothing more than a commonplace tracking imprint, he calmly raised his hand and allowed the blue light to settle upon him. It vanished into his body without disturbance, leaving not the slightest trace. Old Man Fu appeared satisfied. He stowed away the Underworld River page and said evenly, "I have explained everything. Since fellow Taoist Bai requires 3 days to consider, my junior martial sister and I shall remain here for the time being. Brother Yuan and fellow Taoist Han may depart to prepare. The entrance to the yin-yang cave is choked with poisonous flora, unlikely to trouble us greatly, but I would ask Brother Yuan to bring suitable poison-warding treasures. It would be best not to squander magic power before we even enter." "Is that all?" Cultivator Yuan laughed. "To those of us from the sacred poison sect, warding poison is as natural as breathing. Leave it to me. I shall take my leave first." He cupped his fists in farewell and slapped his storage pouch. A massive tortoise emerged in a swirl of smoke. Mounting it in a single motion, he soared into the sky, trailing a plume of dark mist. Han Li likewise offered a parting salute before transforming into a streak of azure light and vanishing beyond the horizon. Half a year was short, but perhaps just sufficient. If he devoted himself entirely, he might complete the Triflame fan in time. As for ghost-repelling treasures, there was little need to trouble himself. With Divine Devilbane Lightning and the Weeping Soul Beast at his side, he already possessed potent counters to malevolent spirits. Still, he intended to refine the fan as swiftly as possible. Should unforeseen peril arise within the yin-yang cave, the combined might of the Triflame fan and his human-shaped puppet would grant him assurance enough. With these thoughts, Han Li turned toward the heart of Nanjiang, the Silver Serpent Mountains. 10 days later, he appeared above a peculiar mountain range. Though stretching only a few hundred kilometers, it wound sinuously across the land like a colossal serpent coiled in slumber. Verdant forests blanketed its slopes, and among the foliage grew strange trees bearing faintly silver leaves that shimmered under the sun. The name Silver Serpent was no exaggeration. Han Li paid no heed to the outer regions. He flew directly toward the mountain's highest reaches. Before he even drew close, waves of scorching wind struck his face thick with the acrid stench of sulfur. Soon jagged volcanoes came into view, misshapen flames scarred their mouths, belching ash and smoke. At intervals they rumbled ominously. Casting plumes of grey into the heavens, a spectacle enough to inspire dread in any lesser being. Yet even amidst this volatile landscape, streaks of multicolored light darted between the peaks. Dozens of cultivators moved among the volcano's most at foundation establishment stage, with a handful at core formation. It was unsurprising. Core formation cultivators could temper their treasures with their own core flames and rarely required external fire, veins. As for a nascent soul cultivator, such a place would ordinarily hold little attraction. Hanley halted mid-air and gazed downward. Blue radiance flickered within his eyes as he surveyed the fire veins beneath the earth. His spiritual sense swept deep into the molten strata. Moments later, he pinpointed the most vigorous vein of fire and descended in a streak of light between two volcanoes. He stopped 3 meters above the ground. With a flick of his sleeve, 8 small golden swords shot forth. They whirled around him in a gleaming ring. Forming a hand seal, he gave a sharp cry. The swords erupted into resplendent arcs of light, each extending 10 meters in length, and slashed downward in unison. A thunderous roar followed. The earth trembled violently as blinding golden radiance burst from the ground. When the sword lights returned to circle him once more, a massive crevice 60 meters wide had been carved deep into the earth. Naturally, such a commotion did not go unnoticed. Nearby cultivators refining their treasures paused in alarm. A few even flew closer, curiosity overcoming caution. Han Li's expression darkened. Without a word, he released the full aura of his cultivation. An immense spiritual pressure surged outward like a tidal wave, suffocating and cold. Within a radius of 10 kilometers, every cultivator felt their hearts seize. Those who had approached immediately retreated in terror. Others, still tempering their treasures, hastily scattered, fearful of offending a great senior and inviting catastrophe upon themselves. When Han Li sensed their tacit withdrawal, he nodded in satisfaction and turned his attention to the fissure below. Before long, word spread swiftly among the Silver Serpent Mountains. A nascent soul cultivator had claimed the area. Within 5 kilometers of Han Li, the mountains became a temporary forbidden zone. Time flowed silently. For an entire month, the crevice lay still. Then, faintly at first, thunderous explosions began to echo from its depths. After another month, the explosions grew fewer, replaced instead by clear ringing tones, sharp and pure, reminiscent of a phoenix's cry soaring through the firmament. Soon after, silence returned once more. Han Li was refining the tri-flame fan. Elsewhere, within a side hall of the great Jin Imperial Palace, over a dozen cultivators had gathered. They wore varied attire, Taoist robes, Buddhist kasayas, Confucian garments, but all shared one trait: nascent soul cultivation. Among them were 2 mid-nascent soul cultivators, a square-faced man with stern features, and an elderly Taoist nun leaning upon a golden cane. The old man in the black hat was also present. The hall was heavy with tension. No one spoke. All eyes drifted time and again toward the entrance. At last, the square-faced cultivator turned to a white-haired Taoist priest beside him, unease in his voice. 11th brother, are you certain it is him? 300 years ago, I witnessed 7th uncle's death with my own eyes. 7th uncle's appearance is far too distinctive to mistake, the priest replied gravely. And his magic treasure, the glacial moonblade. How could I fail to recognize it? The old Taoist nun spoke gloomily. 2nd brother, there is no need for anxiety. In a moment we shall know the truth. With all of us gathered, what is there to fear? If he truly is 7th uncle, our Ye clan will gain immeasurable strength. If he is an impostor, even a late nascent soul cultivator will not leave this hall alive. The square-faced man sighed. You are right. Yet caution is never misplaced. 2 hours later, distant bells rang. A tall, gaunt silhouette appeared at the entrance. He took a single step forward, yet that step spanned the distance of space itself. In an instant, he stood at the center of the hall. His features were sharp, his eyes fine, his brows sparse. But most striking was his head disproportionately large and the slender neck that supported it, swaying as though it might snap at any moment. The moment the gathered cultivators beheld this peculiar visage, they rose in shock. The square-faced cultivator inhaled deeply. "Are you truly our seventh uncle?" The eccentric man chuckled and tossed a green jade slip toward him. "Second nephew, have a few centuries erased me from your memory? Though I suppose my return from death would invite suspicion. Here, third nephew's sound transmission slip. See for yourself." The square-faced cultivator caught the jade slip with trembling hands and immersed his spiritual sense within. A long while passed. His expression shifted repeatedly, shock, doubt, dawning realization before, at last, he withdrew his spiritual sense. Joy blossomed across his face. He bowed deeply. So seventh uncle's death was orchestrated by Grand Elder. "Forgive my discourtesy." The eccentric waved a hand lightly. "Your caution honors the clan. Why would I blame you?" The jade slip passed from hand to hand. Soon exclamations of delight filled the hall. "It truly is seventh uncle. I pay my respects to third great uncle." The eccentric chuckled and took the seat of honor. "That will suffice." The old Taoist nun asked respectfully. Third brother mentioned that 200 years ago, seventh uncle advanced to late nascent soul stage. "Is that so?" "It is," he replied evenly. "In those years, the great sects plotted in secret, fearing my potential ascent. Following the clan's design, I feigned death and withdrew into obscurity. By fortune and perseverance, I broke through at last. The elders of the previous generation intended for me to reveal myself only when the clan faced extinction. Yet third nephew, the sole keeper of my secret, came seeking me and spoke of your plans. As the current Grand Elder, he requested my aid. After careful thought, I judged the matter grave enough to end my seclusion." His expression grew solemn. "And so I have returned. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much."